Hi all, today we are going to discuss on the topic material cost. So, material is the important element or one of the important element in the cost of production or in the total cost of production because nearly 60% of the cost is being incurred from the material. So, material is something that can be stored or stacked or stockpiled, and it is divided into two: direct material and indirect material. Direct material is one which can be allocated to a cost center or a cost unit, or which forms the integral part in the production of that particular product. For example, the cotton in the cotton products, the cotton is the direct material, or the timber in the furniture, or the clay in the bricks. So the clay or the cotton or the timber, these are the direct materials which form the integral part, or which form the main part, contribute a main part in the finished product. Indirect material is something which cannot be directly allocated to a particular cost center or cost unit. They are a part of the process. So, for example, we can tell about the cotton waste, or the lubricating oil, or the nails that is used in the furniture. So, these are the indirect materials. So, when we discuss about the materials, an important concept that you have to come to know is the material control, because the organizations or the factories or the production unit, for their smooth functioning or a smooth running of their activities, the material control system, a proper material control system has to be ensured, because when there is a proper material control system, there is a proper material control system, there would be a proper maintaining of the materials. From the beginning, the system can be ensured, that is, when the material is being procured, or when the material is being stored, or when the material is being utilized, or when it is being converted to the finished goods. From then, from the beginning, if this material control system or the inventory control system is there, the materials can be effectively utilized. That is the that is one of the advantages of this material control. So the material control will ensure the supply of materials at the right time, in the right quantity, at the right place. So this is why it is very important or very necessary that an organization should have a proper material control system. The objectives of material control, if there is a proper material control, it informs or gives information to the management regarding the levels of materials, or what level the materials is available in the organization, or it will help in purchasing the materials at the reasonable cost, or it will help in the minimizing the wastage of materials, then a continuous availability of materials. So these are the some of the objectives of material control. Then, requirements of material control. So, in order to ensure a smooth functioning of the production activity, as I said, there must be a material control system. So there are certain requirements that has to be followed while this process has been happening. The one is a proper coordination and cooperation should be there among all the departments. That is, we have in an organization, there will be different departments. There will be storage department, receiving department, inspecting department, or the production department. So different departments, they will have different needs. So there is a proper coordination among the departments that will help in the smooth functioning of this inventory control, of the material control system. Then there must be a centralized purchase procedure that is to be followed, because a centralized purchase procedure will help to purchase the materials at the reasonable price. A proper scheduling of material as well has to be there. A proper scheduling in the sense that before the materials is getting or before the materials are running in shortage, they well in advance they must be planned ahead, so that when they place the order for the materials when they reach the production unit, there is a time lag. So that can be avoided, so that in uninterrupted or the production is not interrupted in between. It runs continually. That is that is one requirement, a proper scheduling of materials, and as well as a proper, the material should be classified accordingly, or there will be different materials, so it should be classified accordingly and should be placed in such a way that it is properly utilized as well. Then the materials, when we receive the materials, there must be a proper inspection as well, should be done, whether there is any damage in the material or the materials are in sufficient quantity, or all that should be inspected. Then the material should be stored in a proper way, so that the losses or the loss damages or the loss due to theft can be avoided. And a perpetual inventory system should be adopted, so that it is possible to determine the amount of materials or the value that has been available, or the kinds of materials in stock. Then proper record should be maintained on the materials, as when there is a proper record is there, we know the amount of materials that is being utilized, and it can also thereby ensure there is no wastage, or it can ensure a minimum wastage of materials. Then some of the advantages, as I said, so many points we have discussed so far. So from that, it is clearly understood the advantage of material control. That is, the wastage can be avoided, proper information has been provided to the management, or effective utilization of materials has been there, or understocking a process, or the overstocking. That is also another thing that can happen in the production. Understocking, there won't be sufficient stocks available or materials available while the production has been happening, or overstocking, when the stocks are purchased every time and it has been stocked a lot, there may be chances of the wastages, or there may be chances of spoilages, because we need a proper location to store. So these, when there is a proper inventory system, these understocking, overstocking issues can be sorted out, or it can be solved. Then a proper valuation of the stock, because every monthly or as and when the materials come, it has been entered, it has been recorded. So there is a record of materials. So anytime the higher management can check the records to ensure that the materials are utilized properly, or the checking system will help in minimizing the wastage of materials. So when we are purchasing, or when we are discussing about the materials, an important procedure that you have to understand is about the purchase procedure. So we have discussed how we are we have discussed that we need materials for the production. So you need to know what is the process behind when a material there is a time lag. That is when we are purchasing, when we are giving an order till receiving that order, there are few steps involved. So that step takes time. So that is why we say well in advance we need to place the order, or there must be a proper coordination and cooperation between the departments. So when you are learning these steps, you will clearly understand why it is required to plan everything in an advance. So material control will help in us to ensure the proper availability of all these materials. So we'll learn the purchase procedures. First one is the purchase requisition. As for every requirement, we need to give a request regarding the purchase, which type material, the quantity, the number, what are the needs. We need to give a request. The concerned department will be providing the request to the purchase department, and a number of copies would be prepared. One would be maintained by the concerned department, one would be sent to the purchase department, and one would be sent to the management. Like that, the copies would be maintained. 3 copies has been prepared. So the first step is the purchase requisition, and purchase of materials has been initiated to the purchase requisition form. It is a formal request by the head of the department is being provided to the concerned authorities. After purchase requisition is being made, the next step is the selecting of the suppliers. we will have different suppliers in the market. So the concerned department would be inviting quotations from the different suppliers, and based on the quotations, based on their rates, based on their other facilities provided, the departments, concerned department will scrutinize all the quotations, and they will select a particular supplier which is meeting all their requirements, which is of reasonable rate, which is providing good quality. So, after receiving the request, the next step is the selection of a supplier. Then, after supplier has been selected, we'll be placing the order. That is the purchase order and follow. We'll be placing the order to the supplier. So, a purchase order form would be prepared. The order form will have all the requirements, all the conditions, the authorities would be providing the conditions and the necessary materials or the quantity number, and all the required conditions would be provided to the suppliers, and that the order should be prepared in a proper format, because it is a legal agreement between the authority and the supplier. So that would be binding. After that, whatever things happen, it would be based on that legal contract, because that is a purchase order that we have been providing to the supplier on behalf of the company or the management. After that, we are placing the order. The supplier started initiating the order. They started procuring the materials, and after procuring the materials, they would be delivering the materials to the organization or the concerned department. So, the receiving of materials is the fourth step. Once the materials is being received, they have to inspect the materials. Inspection and testing of materials. If there is any electronic equipments or something, machines is being ordered, it would be test run, so that to ensure that it is running properly. Or if it is the raw material form, the materials would be checked whether it is of good quality, or whether the sufficient numbers is being mentioned, sufficient number that has been mentioned is being there, or is there any defect in the materials. If there is any defect, they would be rejecting the materials. So after inspecting, if there is any rejection, they would be returning back to the suppliers. So that is the sixth step, and the last one is the passing of bill or final settlement. So once after rejections everything is over, they would be making payment for the goods of right quantity and quality. Satisfactory materials, for that they would be making payments. So the accounts department would be passing the bill once they receive the confirmations from the inspection department or the concerned department who is being put into the inspection. So when they receive the confirmation, the bills would be sent to the accounts department. Accounts department would be passing the bill and sending to the cashier to make the payment for the quantity that they have been ordered. So these are the steps which is being involved. So it is a time consuming process. So that is why if there is a proper inventory control system, if that has been properly followed, before the material is going to get short, they will be intimating the concerned departments, purchase department, so that by the time all these processes have been happening, when the material is about to get over, the fresh new materials will be made available, so that the production runs properly. So that is why in the beginning I mentioned the materials are the important element in the total cost of production, because majority of the cost is being happened in the material cost. So if there is a proper control is being happening, the total cost of production can be reduced, and as well as the profit, or there can be a improvement in the profit of the organizations can be improved. So that's all for today's session. Thank you.